What's going on, guys, and welcome back to a new video. So I did start the season out with a Summoner Necromancer. I'm almost Paragon 200 in World Tier 4. Currently I have no mythic uniques and I've already cleared everything with the build. Also, I've pushed up to Pit 90 and the build is nowhere near finalized. Infernal Hordes, Hell Tides, and bosses are very easy with this setup, and that's only on day 2 since the season started. But we'll cover everything I'm currently using for the build, and there will be a bit of gameplay at the end if you want to check that out. I definitely plan on pushing this build further, but there are several things that I want to test out and try, so keep your eyes open for an updated guide in the very near future. If you guys have any questions or comments, let me know down below and I'll get back to you. Anyways, starting out with the skills, we do use Bone Prison. This is going to keep enemies grouped up, makes them vulnerable, and also we get increased damage against enemies, that 15% multiplier. We have Blight for more damage against enemies. Obviously, we have Raised Skeleton, and we want to be spamming Raised Skeleton because in our Paragon board, we get a damage boost. And you'll see that when we go over it in the Paragon board. Right here, we have Corpse Tendrils. This is going to group enemies up, also make them vulnerable, and slows them down. We have Soul Rift. This is our ultimate. This is also going to make enemies vulnerable, so we have several sources of vulnerable, and this is going to give us damage. And then right here, we have Reap. We just have this on our bar. You'll see in the skill tree, we get damage and movement speed for every darkness skill on our action bars. So right now we have that on there. I might actually end up changing that out for Blood Mist, just depending, because I plan on pushing higher into the pit. So that's subject for change. But this is just what I use so far up right here till day 2. All right, so you can see I'm 194 when it comes to the level of my Paragon. Real quick, I am using Elixir Fortitude 2 for life, Redmond Buzz, Sage Whisper, and Soothing Spice, and I do run with those on pretty much all the time for the benefits and for the experience gain. Go ahead and show you my stats real quick. 85 all res. Here's all the stats. I'm gonna pause it and look at them. So first I'll go over the mercenaries. Up top we have Subo. Basically we run it over here and then down to here. The main reason that I'm using Subo is that he reveals everything on the mini map and makes that real nice when you're farming. And then for the reinforcement, I'm actually just leveling up all the different ones when it comes to the reinforcement. Right now I'm using Rahir. Now as for the chaos perks, right here we go with the Beast Cornered. For every 10% life you are missing, you gain 20% multiplicative increased damage. We're missing 50% life at all times. Because of the Marred Guard right here, you can see you can no longer be healed above 50% life, but you gain 10% maximum all resistance to all elements, 20% multiplicative increased armor, and 100% increased barrier and fortified generation. So this actually makes us super tanky. And then over here we use Defile the Dead. Basically we can consume corpses twice, and then after consuming 10 corpses we go unstoppable for 2 seconds. And then right down here we have chaotic cooldowns. This is kind of nice. It makes it to where you don't have to have cooldown reduction anywhere on your gear. Your cooldown could be from anywhere between 2 seconds and its original base. So most of the time, it seems like our cooldowns are just almost instant. Not to mention with Decrepify, we're bringing our cooldowns down. So, this actually works out good with the build. Now into the Book of the Dead. Up at the Warriors, we sacrifice the Reapers for the 20% increased shadow damage. Into the Mages, we are using this one right here, 3% multiplicative increased damage per active Shadow Mage. We have a total of 12 of them right now, so that's getting us a 36% multiplier. And then down here for the Golem, we do sacrifice the Iron Golem for a 35% multiplier to our critical strike damage. Now we'll go ahead and cover the gear. Up top, just the helmet with intelligence, maximum life, and armor. Obviously, we want to get that armor cap in World Tier 4 of the 1000 right here. And currently for the tempers, I have maximum life and soul rift duration. And then you want to go with the Hardened Bones aspect for more damage reduction. Now, when it comes to the runes, I kind of just have whatever in right now. I don't feel like they're doing a whole lot for me. I have Nagu Zan right here. And then down here, I have Zanagar for critical strike chance. I'm pretty close to crit capped without this. So, I mean, if you need that crit chance, you could throw this in there. But right now, the runes are definitely subject for change. This is just what I had on day 2 so far. Now into the body armor. Really quickly, you're going to see that I have the Ring of Mandeln Chaos Armor right here. Obviously, normally this would be a ring like this right here over in your ring slot. I found that having the actual armor, you can see right there, every 6 attack from each minion is empowered, exploding for 8,500 physical damage. That's like a nice damage boost. You actually get more out of that over here on the armor. That's why I wanted to have that on my armor. And for right now, with no mythic uniques, I mean, this has actually been really strong. And then you'll want to go ahead and throw the intelligence into the sockets right there. Now, you don't have that, or you can't get it to drop, and just get yourself a Ring of Mandeln. They drop all the time. and then, throw that in the slot over here. Actually, it'll be in place of the aspect of elements right here. But yeah, having that for the armor has actually been really beneficial. And that opens up a slot for another damage aspect. Hand of Naz. Now, obviously, we're your Mage Summoner. You're definitely going to want to get the Hand of Naz. Try to get the Greater Affix on the Skeleton Mage Mastery if possible. And try to masterwork that. Also, when it comes to masterworking in the armor right here, try to masterwork the Skeleton Warrior, Mage, and Golem Mastery. And then up on the helmet, try to masterwork the Intelligence or the Life. Now down to the pants, we are going with the Blood Moon Breeches. These are awesome. We get crit chance, ranks to Hellbent Commander for, damage. And then these make it to where our minions apply curses to enemies, and we benefit from enemies being cursed. We deal more damage to enemies that are cursed. Now, before I found these, I was actually using the Tassets of Dawning Sky. These are kind of nice. They give you a bunch of all-res. When I first got into World Tier 4, I was using these until I actually found this set of Blood Moon Breaches. But, these are nice for survivability, and also they give you movement speed, all stats, some maximum res. So, if you can't find the Blood Moon Breaches, I'd say definitely try to go with the Tassets until you're able to. Now into the boots right here, you want to go with Intelligence, Maximum Life, and Armor, just like I have right there. That's how we're going to hit our armor cap in World Tier 4. Also for the tempers, you want to get movement speed and corpse tendril size. Then you definitely want to have the aspect of Occult Dominion on your boots. You want to get the maximum to Skeleton Warriors and Mages, which actually that all turns into Mages, since we have the Hand of Naz. Now, as for the weapon, definitely want to get the aspect of Service and Sacrifice on here. Gives a huge boost to your mages as far as damage, up to a 200% multiplier. Now, you want to go with Intelligence, Maximum Life, and some form of damage. I just have vulnerable damage right there. Preferably, I'd want to have critical strike damage right there. And then for your tempers, you want to go with Skeletal Mage damage, just like I have. And then ranks to Titan's Fall. You want to try to triple masterwork ranks to Titan's Fall. You can get up to 12 ranks on that. And every rank with that is a 5% multiplier, so that gives us a lot of damage. And that will directly impact every 6 attack where the minions are empowered and they explode for the 8,500 physical damage. So that will boost that up quite a bit, having the ranks to Titanfall. Now up into the amulet, this is just what I have for right now. You can get percent intelligence, definitely want to have that. Try to get the greater affix right there. And then how we're set up, we do need the critical strike chance to get close to the crit cap. Now in a mythic version, we wouldn't need that right there, but in this version, we definitely do. So I'd say for this version, try to get, percent intelligence. Don't worry about the attack speed. Actually, don't even need that attack speed. Try to get the critical strike chance, and then try to get ranks to either Hellbent Commander or Gloom. Either one is good. Go ahead and throw on for your Tempers, Barrier Generation, and Skeleton Mage Mastery. As for the aspect right there on your amulet, you want to go with Reanimation, giving our minions a nice boost. Right here, we're going to go with Aspect to Elements on our first ring. Go with Intelligence, Life, and Critical Strike Chance like I have right there. Skeleton Mage Damage, and I have Resource Cost Reduction. On the next ring, we're going to go with the Aspect of Grasping Veins, Intelligence, Attack Speed, Critical Strike Chance. I have Resource Generation. The reason that I have Generation right there and Reduction right here, because that slot doesn't really matter, the options that we get there. We don't need cooldown reduction, so there's not really any good options right there, so I just toss those on there. Skeleton Mage damage, definitely get the Skeletal Mage damage everywhere you can. Oh yeah, and really quickly, I didn't show you. Now, say that you have the Ring of Mendeln over here because you can't find the armor like this. You just want to use the armor like this right here. If you have the Ring of Mendeln in your actual ring slot, you'll go with Intelligence, Maximum Life, and then the resistance to all elements. And then for your tempers, go with Maximum Life, Soul Rift Duration. You can see that I have the Cursed Aura. Now, I was using this before I had the Blood Moon Breaches, but if you're using regular armor and you have the Blood Moon Breaches, you don't need that on there. Just throw another defensive aspect onto your armor. We'll really quickly go over the skill tree. Up top, go into Reap, run that back to Enhance. You have to have points up there. 3 into Hued Flesh, take Light over to Supernatural. Get that nice damage multiplier to our minions. Right down here, go 1 into Grim Harvest, 3 into Fueled by Death for damage. Right here, max out Titan's Fall. 1 into Spiked Armor, you definitely want to get the 10% block chance. Right here, 1 into Bone Prison, run that back to Dreadful. Right here, we're going to put 3 into Amplify Damage for more damage against cursed enemies. Right here, Decrepify, run that back to Aberrant. Now, because of our Blood Moon Breach pants, we're automatically cursing enemies, and they do get the benefit of this, so cursed enemies are bringing our cooldowns down as well. Right here, you're going to want to max out Skeletal Mage Mastery, obviously. Right down here, we're going to go with 3 into Reaper's Pursuit, 3 into Gloom, 3 into Terror, all for damage. Right here, going to Crippling Darkness with 2 points. We have that chance to stun enemies. Corpse Tendrils over to Plagued to make enemies vulnerable. 3 into Necrotic Carapace right here for Fortify Generation. Right here into our ultimate skill. Max out Soul Rift, run that over to Supreme. 3 points into Inspiring Leader. Now you see right there, while you were healthy, you gain 12% increased critical strike chance. Your minions get 18%. Now, since we're sitting at 50% life at all times, unfortunately, they don't get the 12% from us, but they do get that 18% right there, which helps tap their crit chance. So you definitely want to have 3 points into there. Maxed out Hellbent Commander. And then down here for our key passive, we're going to go with Kalan's Edict right here. All right, now into the Paragon board. Now, keep in mind, guys, I'm only Paragon 194. Now, I do have all my glyphs up to at least level 45, because at 45, you get the bigger radius. There's a bigger radius at 15 and then at 45, and I have them all to at least 45. You see 57, 46, 46, and 46. So definitely level those up so you get the benefits out of those, and you get the bigger radius. There will be a link for this build down in the description if you want to check it out that way. Just know that this build is not fully optimized, but for day 2 of the season, no mythic uniques. It's actually, a pretty good setup so far. Right here in the starter board, we're going to throw Gravekeeper. Next board that we're going to come into is the Cult Leader board. Now, you definitely want to meet the 100% attack speed bonus so that you're getting the maximum damage out of this. We're actually well over the 100% attack speed bonus, so we're reaping all the benefits from Cult Leader right here. In this board, you're going to want to go ahead and throw Dead Razor. Next board that we're going to come into is the Flesh Eater board. Now, constantly consuming corpses, and we get a 40% multiplier. That's why we're constantly using Raised Skeleton. In this board, go ahead and throw Abyssal. And then the next board that we're going to come into will be the Sand of Death board. You get 15% damage reduction and a 30% multiplier to our critical strike damage. In this board, go ahead and throw the Mage Glyph. Now, this is just currently how I have it set up, but there is a lot of intelligence in this board right here. That's why we have the Mage Glyph in this board. And then down here, we're going to go with Frailty. Basically, we deal more damage to cursed enemies. In this board, go ahead and throw Essence. We want to pump that critical strike damage up as high as we possibly can. Like I said earlier, there will be another guide out for this build when it's more min-maxed and doing even more damage. So keep your eyes peeled for that. I'm thinking about going with the Soul Rift light setup and trying that out for farming. It looks like a lot of fun. I might give that a run before I actually, min-max this build and get it finalized. I haven't made up my mind on that yet, but if you guys have any questions or comments, let me know down below. There will be some gameplay right now if you want to go ahead and check that out. Anyways, thanks for watching.